Okay, Mark Aldridge, trying to do YouTube clips. Been meaning to do it for years, haven't done it yet. First of all, I'll talk about myself and then a few things that interested to me, and I'm thinking of them, I'm writing them down as I think of them. I started in the political arena nearly 20 years ago. That's the saddest part of my life, I suppose. I started in the political arena because I was a good salesman and I had a lot of friends. My nickname was Cinch. They thought I could fix the world, and sadly I haven't had a lot of success in doing that at elections. And I ran for a few years. I was very disillusioned with the direction of this country. I'm still extremely disillusioned. I don't get excited by the political parties. I think we've all had enough of them, and rightfully so. And even if we can't elect a whole lot of good people into Parliament at this election, we can at least send a bloody strong message to them to pull their heads in and start considering some protectionism for this country. Protectionism is an interesting word. I think what happens when you vote for a candidate is or vote for someone to represent you in Parliament, that person should go in there and they should protect your children, they should protect your community, they should protect your farming, they should protect your food, your water and your sovereignty. And they should protect your rights and they should protect your civil liberties. And they don't. In fact, Parliament for the last 10 or 15, maybe 20 years is taking all those things from you. In fact, they actually are offended by people like me that want to protect your best interests. And I find that repulsive. And so I've continued to run in elections. Whether or not I can be elected is doubtful at times. I think this year, a lot more of you know I exist and what I stand for. And probably for about the last 7 or 8 years, I've taken it, the whole thing very personally, and I have been going out into the community trying to bring change, show you who I am, what I stand for, and that I'm an honest bloke that won't back down. And in doing that, in the last few years, I've taken a very strong interest in animal welfare. I think that you can judge a society on how it treats its animals. My wife and I now run and own and fund a native wildlife sanctuary, so you might hear birds in the background. We have kangaroos and things like that. And I've been very proactive in the support of non-kill shelters. I think that we should lead by example in Australia in the way we treat our animals. Lots of other things that I've covered over the years have been particularly important to me. Democracy itself is very important to me, so I'll talk about that separately. I think the electoral system is fraudulent. I think it's misused, and I don't think that the major parties should be writing electoral law. I think it should be an independent body. I have a strong interest in looking after our farmers. In doing so, starting from a protest about 4 years ago against Woolies and Coles, a stranglehold on the farmers and the abusive way that they were using our farmers and abusing them, annoyed me. And so I now run markets, and I started one of the biggest ones in Parafield. I now run one at Salisbury. I have one at Lightsview, and I've assisted in the building of markets in other locations in South Australia. I think that by doing that, the smaller farmers and producers have a chance to survive. And we specialise in Australian-made product only. And sadly, I've become very good at it. And because I've become good at it, I'm under attack on that front. So you'll hear of me in a few weeks' time after the election going to the Supreme Court full bench to fight for the existence of markets, fates and community events. And I believe that getting out and about and buying your fruit and veg straight from the farmer makes the farmer feel good. It keeps the farmer on the land. You can buy fresh, decent produce that's produced here, and we have the best farmers in the world. And I think that's one of the most important things that I've done. And I don't do it for money, I do it because it's important to me. I have a strong interest in water, which goes along obviously with the farming industry. And we see aquifers being attacked out here in the plains area where I live. And if we don't act very, very soon, we'll lose that source of water, which is sad. We have a desal plant that doesn't even work. It costs $2 billion. We won't go into that. It's a bigger thing. So I think change is needed on a lot of fronts. We have some of the big issues that you'll come up with during the election is immigration. I'm not racist. In fact, most of my friends are from other countries. My markets entertain people from nearly every country in the world, from every religious base. It doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me is when we have homeless people living on the street with no support services, and we have our disabled on critical waiting lists, and a variety of problems in this country, including a massive job shortage and a massive production shortage, that we shouldn't be increasing our immigration numbers. In fact, we could cut back our immigration numbers, to be totally honest. And maybe, just maybe, instead of sending billions and billions of dollars over to these countries and handing it to corrupt governments, we could send our unemployed over there and pay them to go and teach these other countries about democracy and about farming their own lands properly and feeding for themselves and standing up for themselves in their own countries and fixing the problems there, rather than possibly in some cases bringing those problems to this country. So I am not anti-immigration. I must admit I'd like to curb the numbers. I'm anti the direction of this country in every respect, absolutely every respect. So I suppose I'm different in that respect, and I believe in protectionism, and so I'd like to protect things. And the things I'd like to protect is, I don't think we should be selling our ports. We shouldn't sell our water. We definitely should be not selling our farms, for God's sake. And I don't think we should be curtailing to free trade agreements and things like that disadvantage us. I mean, Australia's overvalued. You know, we're paid a very high wage structure. We cannot compete on a level playing field with people in other countries that are earning anywhere from $10 to $30 a week. Just not possible. So we have to protect things. Look, let's be honest here. I'm happy if we still import produce. So growing rice uses lots of water. Let the countries with lots of water grow the rice, bring it here, and we'll send them our fresh produce that they can't grow as well. But common sense has to come into play. We shouldn't be having our farmers up in the Riverland pulling up their orange trees and their grapes and everything else they're pulling up at the moment because they can't water them properly, right? And then bringing in those same products from other countries who are smart enough to subsidise their growers. So there's a lot that needs to be done, and free trade is to blame for most of it. And not only are free trade deals rubbish anyway, our government doesn't even negotiate very well. So we end up in the arse end of it. If you go to America, which has free trade, they specify what they're going to trade and not trade on. We're open slather, for God's sake. So there's lots of problems in the country. I've been around a long time. I'm hoping you all know me by now. And, you know, I just really enjoy looking after people. And when the fires were here, I put a call out on social networks. Everybody came, and I worked with them. I didn't lead. I worked with them, and a lot of us got together, and we took 40 vehicles in, and we you know, okay, I pushed the point. You know, I don't break the law. I push the boundaries of the law to get those 40 vehicles in every day into the fire zone, to get those emergency supplies like water and food and essential things, and also take the feed in for the animals because we were losing animals, and get vets in there and stuff like that. I just want to show that I can think outside the square, that I can get out there and do stuff that I think is important for this country. As a person, being elected, what difference will that make? Well, let me just say this. I have a business to run. It's tough out there for small business at the moment, and if you elect me, I'll get paid to do this every day of my life. If you do not elect me, I will still do this as often as I can. I will still try and expand my markets. I will still be there for people in need, and I'll still be out there in the disaster zone if disasters come. And I will still be called out if someone phones and there's an animal in need or some problem somewhere. I'll go out and do it. But I think that I can do it a much better job if I'm paid a salary to do it, and it takes the pressure off my wife trying to run the business while I'm running around trying to help my state and my community. So that's why I want to be elected. But if you don't elect me and you at least reward me with your vote, I may get some funding to do what I do. And if I do get that funding, I will list online what I do with that money. I've never asked for money from any of you. I do this because I care. But I do have a business. I've got a mortgage like the rest of you. I've got power bills to pay. I've got hundreds of animals to feed. And so I do need the income. My markets at the moment are running nearly at a loss because I don't want to charge my farmers much. I want to make sure they make a lot of money. And so what I'm asking you for is your support. And if that support is to put me 2 or 3 or 4, well, fine. Look, I offend some people, right? And I expect that, okay? But being offended is subjective. You know, I'm not always going to get things right. I definitely have no interest in becoming a career politician. I have no interest in some of the rubbish laws that are coming out. We see civil rights and human rights was what got me into this. And the human and civil rights aspect of this country is abusive at the moment. The way we treat our elderly, the services for the disabled, the most vulnerable, anyone that's not got a voice or that's a minority group that's being attacked by this parliament. We have laws in this state that say that you can't do something because you used to know someone or your family member used to know someone. I mean, rubbish. If you're gonna face the judiciary or face anything at all in terms of government offensive government rules and regulations and laws and legislation, that is where the problems are. If I do something wrong, hold me to account for it, but don't hold me to account because someone I know or my neighbour does something wrong. And we need a Bill of Rights in this bloody country, because our children no one knows what their rights are. Everyone keeps saying to me, I've got the right to this, the right to that. Well, no, you bloody don't. And we need a Bill of Rights that's entrenched in our Constitution to make sure that not so much for us, because we're not going to learn it. Well, I'm saying us old people, right? But the kids need to be taught in school what the bloody rights are, and they need to be upheld. And we need to bind the Parliament, we need to bind the judiciary with a basic set of human rights that we know exist. And that overcomes most of our problems, because if it was applied in such a way to become retrospective, then all these rubbish laws out there, they keep writing legislation that has these little horrible sections that attack the individuality of people and their rights and liberties, shouldn't be there. And I do read legislation. I understand legislation. I have a very good understanding of the law, not a perfect one. I understand the Constitution. So if you're going to vote for somebody that's going to get in there and bring change and roll these guys up a bit and hold them to account and give them a hard time, you need someone that can go in there that's got an understanding of legislation and the problems. Because I'm out there every day. I'm at my market twice a week. I'm at my market at 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning, sometimes 7. But I'm at my market every Wednesday and Saturdays. My Sunday market, I sometimes have a sleep in. And I go there and I meet people and I meet the farmers, and I'm out there and I've been out and met the dairy farmers, and I've been out there and met the irrigators, and I've been out there when the Chinese were going up and down our Murray River looking for the biggest water supplies to buy, and how they try to hide it. And we don't need that stuff here. We need to protect our water and look after our water and our farmers and production. We need to be self-sufficient. The world, this free trade and this whole lovely world that we're coming into, things can go wrong. It might not go wrong for my generation, it might go wrong for another generation, but the last thing you want is any generation to be cut off from their food supplies. We need to produce that food here. So that's a basic overview of who I am, and then I'll cut the video about here, and then you can keep watching because I'll talk about some topics in more detail.